And now we have 14 individual meshes. We want to convert them into a 3D object.
Hello, big welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us today as always. My name is Jenny and I'm a part of the education team at Madit. Nice to meet everyone. And today we have Dr. Marwan here.
Hello, Jenny. Good to see you again. Thank
Yeah,
you for inviting me.
good to see you again.
Yeah, today is an interesting topic. It will be a complementary to the previous one, to the previous webinar that we presented 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, definitely. And there have been a lot of inquiries about how to customize digital library, and I'm so glad that finally we can deal with this topic thanks to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, can you tell us some contents that you're gonna discuss with us today?
All right. So last webinar, we discussed about how do we do a digital mockup with the help of Medit Design app. And we discussed 3 simple steps. The first step was to import 3D teeth library.
Yeah.
And the question that we got, how to get a 3D teeth library. In today's webinar, we're going to answer that question. We're going to show you the step-by-step how we are going to do 3D teeth library of our own. And more interestingly, we're going to use the practice model that has been provided by the Medit company with our
Oh.
Medit scanners.
Definitely, this is a hot topic, and I hope everyone gets an idea to utilize our Medit app much better after listening to this lecture. Then,
Hopefully.
yeah, shall we get started, Doctor?
Yes, let's start.
Okay.
All right, so I'll show you the steps that you can follow in order to obtain your own 3D teeth library. We are going to use the practice model that comes with your Medit scanner to obtain the 3D teeth library using the copy-paste technique. All Medit users, we all had that practice model that we have used to practice on scanning. Let's utilize the same model to obtain 3D teeth. For this demonstration, I'm using the Medit i600. So first click on the Medit link app. For non-Medit users, you can download the app from the Medit website for free. Let's start a new case, and you can name the patient as a teeth library, and the case name I'm going to write practice model. Register and scan. You can fill the form as a diagnostic model. However, it's not really necessary. You can start the scanning process right away as well. We have only upper arch to scan. Select the upper arch, follow a scanning strategy. In this case, I'm demonstrating real speed. It's not edited. And you can see on the top right hand side, we have 36 frames per second, as that's the maximum speed you can get from the i600. The laptop that I'm using is a Microsoft Studio. It comes with high specs, and you'll see it will save quite a bit of time in the post-processing as well. So all what I need is to scan the teeth and the gum as well. It's not necessary to scan the palate for this particular purpose, as we are interested in the 3D teeth only. It's important to have a defined gum line though. So the scanning process is complete, and that's the first step. Once you have the model digital, now it's time to use the Method Design app. We need to import the model to the Method Design. And now we're going to start the process of copy, paste. Click on the Edit mod and let's start from the upper right second molar. We're going to activate the duplicate and then select single tooth. So we use you can see we select the tooth in one click only. Click apply, rename, and tooth number 17 already copied. Let's deselect, select the next tooth, click apply, rename as 16, click enter, deselect, and the process will be repeated 14 times in this particular example. So you can see as the scan is good, that the software with a simple click will be able to identify the tooth. And again, deselect, select, click apply, rename. So 4 simple steps and repeat 14 times. Again, this process till now hasn't been edited in order to see the actual time that is spent on the process of copy paste. Technically, we are duplicating the individual meshes of these 14 teeth. And that is our second step of obtaining 3D teeth library. And here I did speed up the process to 2x, as it will be repeated exactly the same thing where select. You can see on the premolar I had to click the mouse twice, and it's still the software managed to select the entire tooth in 2 clicks. You can see in here I did a mistake. I duplicated the tooth number to 4 twice. I'm going to delete it. Once I exit the edit mode, I can delete it from the main menu by clicking right click and delete. So that's the last tooth. I did the same mistake, I duplicated twice, but it's not a problem. Just right click, click delete, right click, click delete, and that's it. And now we have 14 individual meshes. We want to convert them into a 3D object. So we need to fill the holes. So what we're going to do, the next step is important. We're going to click on edit mode again, and we're going to do it tooth by tooth. That's the next step. So what we're going to do, bridge the interproximal, and then full holes. But what you've noticed, you'll get an error message because it's a big hole in the center. So one trick around it, you can divide the hole into two smaller spaces by bridging the center. That's it. When 7 is complete, let's move to 1/6. Repeat the same process again. Bridge the interproximal. To make the full hole process more predictable, so bridge the center and full holes. And that's a 3D upper right first molar. Let's move to the premolar. So make the tooth that you made the 3D object invisible and make the adjacent tooth visible using the tree data on the right, left hand side. So you can see now we're repeating the same process. Bridge, 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 followed by full holes. Make it invisible, make the adjacent tooth visible. And we are going to repeat the same process 14 times. However, the time that you'll spend on this process is an investment because you do it only once, and then you'll be able to save these 3D teeth in your MeditLink or even on your local PC. And I'll show you how I'll be able to use them for future projects by simply drag and drop or click the import button in the Medit Design app. We are at halfway through. There are many ways of obtaining your 3D teeth library, but this way is a personal preference. It's quite simple, and as you can see, it's not that hard. And that's the beauty of Medit Design app. It has all the features that are necessary to technically import meshes, and you can merge them together, you can subtract, add to the meshes. So that's why I always say it's the mind is the limit with the Medit Design app, and that what makes this app in particular is my favorite app. Obviously, you can purchase 3D Teeth library as well. And if you don't want to spend the time, or if you want all the 28 teeth, I have done them. You can check the dsdmadeeasy.com. Again, it's www.dsdmadeeasy.com. There are 3D Teeth library ready-made for download, 28 teeth. And the advantage of these teeth, they are technically 28 Pontics, so you can use them for immediate dentures, for a complete denture. You can use them for designing and planning the all-on-X cases. You can use them for a digital mock-up for composite veneers or for porcelain veneers. So if you haven't watched the previous webinar, I highly recommend to watch the digital mock-up for beginners, and we talked about the 3 simple steps. And one of the steps was importing a 3D teeth library, and that's why we made this webinar to complement the previous one. So you can see in here we have 14 teeth we have obtained using the copy-paste technique from the practice model of that comes with the MEDIT scanner. Click complete and overwrite. So these 3D teeth will be exported to the MEDIT link, and you can save the project. MEDIT design in case if you want to edit it in the future. So now that's in your MEDIT link. You have a copy of the 3D teeth that you just designed, and you can keep it there for future reference. You can literally import to your MEDIT design app on any other case that you'll be working on. And even from here, you can export these individual 14 teeth to your desktop, for example, which you can drag and drop to your MEDIT design app as well. So you can see I click the export button. You can export it in PLY format. PLY format is different to STL. It's a 3D object again, but it has color to it. In case if you want to make your mockup white color, you can choose PLY, and with the MEDIT design you can switch off the color option. So this is a different case. That's just I want to show you how I'm going to import 3D teeth library, or how I'm going to use it for my digital mockup. So that's a different case. That's an initial scan. I want to do a 10 veneers wax up or a mockup for this case. So you can go to import from MEDIT link, search teeth library. So you need to search the patient's name that you created, where the teeth library are. So I put teeth library, you can just select all. And click confirm, deselect the base and click confirm. And now you have the 3D teeth library. And that was the webinar of the previous one. Step 1 was importing a 3D teeth library, and one step is done. And the second step was using the transformation mode to scale and position these 3D teeth library in a favorable position within the arch. And that's how you can customize your 3D teeth library for all your cases. Because technically you can change the shape and orientation of these teeth to your desired shape and position. Using the transformation mode, we were able to scale and change the occlusal plane. We can change the incisal plane, and we can use the translate and rotate feature, which I have explained in details, how to use the XYZ axes for precise positioning. And that was the second step. Third step was edit mode, where we use sculpting tools to morph or subtract or add to both the initial scan and the STL files. Then we can merge them with the Boolean union, and then once that we are happy with the final results, we can export the final mesh into MEDIT link. And of course we can use the other app, which is a model builder app, in order to allow you to print that 3D mesh. So model builder app is another app on the MEDIT link that would allow you to convert a 3D mesh into a 3D printable object. And if you have any question, you can leave a comment below. And we have reached to the end of our webinar. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll find the tips that we've shared with you very useful. And that's how we make our own 3D teeth library.
Okay, thank you for sharing all your tips with us, Dr. Marwan.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
That's nice to know. I hope that many people viewing the webinar would really find it useful because in the past, um, it was really hard, and in fact, it's impossible to obtain 3D teeth library for free. And that's what in this day and age, with the help of Medit apps, in particular the Medit Design app, everything is possible. And that's what I try to demonstrate is the copy paste technique to copy 3D teeth library and paste it in order to use it for our own projects.
Mm. Okay, so let's talk about more in Q&A session. So let's move on. Okay, question number one. What is the clinical application of this copy-paste technique in clinical practice?
In clinical practice, to obtain a copy, and I believe there will be a scenario where, let's say, put an example, a patient would come in and let's say she would need to have a denture or all on X. And when we do ask the patient, what's the desired teeth shapes. And if the patient would come across and would say, I would love to have similar smile to what I used to have in the past when she was younger. And that is the question that the next question would follow is any of her daughters, for example, they have a similar smile, and you would see some patient would say, I would love to have a smile like my daughter. And that usually would resemble their younger selves. Before in the past, in the analog workflow, these things were really impossible to replicate. And that's the technique that we can actually achieve. So technically, with that example, all what we need to do is we need to scan that daughter, for example, daughter's teeth, and use the same technique to copy the shape of the daughter's teeth and technically use the other two steps that I explained in the previous webinar, which is use the transformation mode to scale and position the teeth within the arch, followed by edit mode to finish the final. And then we can 3D print the denture if it is a denture, or even we can 3D model as well. And literally, the concept used to be called, I came across it many years ago, was the smile donator, where let's say the daughter would donate the smile to her mother. And in fact, it's not donating the teeth themselves, just the shapes. And that's what the concept of the copy paste technique. And that's, I think it's really valuable, not only for dentures, even for ceramic. If we are working with monolithic mold ceramic restorations, we can do the same shapes, and we're gonna technically copy paste the teeth.
I think there are so many clinical applications, yeah. Let's move on to question number two. Can we make a 3D teeth library from our own teeth? If yes, how useful is it in clinical practice?
Yes, 100%. So we can scan our own teeth and we can follow the same steps that I demonstrate in this webinar to extract 3D teeth library. And it will be useful in case, for example, if I'm working on my own teeth, and for example, I have the tooth number 23, which is the upper left canine, is worn down, and I want to replicate it, make it look like the 1-3. And I want the symmetry. So what I do, following the same technique, where I can copy the 1-3, which is the upper right canine, and then in the edit mode, there is a mirror function. I can mirror the tooth, and now I have a replica for the upper right canine that is mirrored to replicate the 2-3. And that would help me in the wax app that I can, again, I can move to the second step, which is the communication with the technician, on what is the ideal shape that I want. And the beauty of digital dentistry, the power of digital dentistry is symmetry. Symmetry, we understand left and right. We want them to be symmetrical to a certain degree, especially where the canines and the premolars, well, the centrals, they have to be 100% symmetrical. And in the past, we used to ask, we would recommend for a patient to get two veneers. We would recommend even numbers, because to copy every single corner from one tooth to the other by hand is quite hard. However, with copy and mirror then paste, that would make it possible.
Yeah. Okay, last one. Question number 3. Can we save the modified teeth library and use it for the Smile Design app?
Yes. So once we obtain the 3 teeth library, so you can see it's time consuming. However, we're going to do it only once. And then we can export it to the Medit link and we keep it there. And you can see, as I demonstrated today, I named the file as teeth library. That's a patient under the Medit link. And every time I want to use this 3D teeth library, once I go to the Medit Design app, I'll import, and then the window will appear asking me to select which patient I want. I'll choose teeth library. And once I write teeth library, the teeth library will appear, and I simply select and import. And the other workflow that I can work with, I export the 3D teeth library to my desktop, and I can save it on my Dropbox, let's say, where I can have an access to it while I'm at work or even at home, and simply drag and drop to the Edit Design app.
It seems quite simple after listening to you.
It is very simple.
Okay, that's all about it for today. So I know that you all have been waiting for this topic. So if you have any questions or would like to know more about it, you can leave the comments below this video.
Of course.
Okay, thank you for being here, doctor, and thank you for preparing such a great lecture today.
Thank you, Jenny. It's always a pleasure to be talking about topic I love with the Medit team.
Okay, see you next time. Bye.
See you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.